I wanted to watch this video because I saw this trailer twice. I saw it once on Twitter when it first was released, and then I saw the trailer again a second time when I watched Spider-Verse in the theater. They played this trailer before, and I was like, damn, this somehow looks even worse than what I saw it the first time. So I feel like this is the ultimate DreamWorks L. It's this new show, Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken, and luckily it got slaughtered in the box office. For those of you that are unaware, the box office has taken so many colossal L's lately because everything they're making is not doing well. And they're saying that it's not doing well because of COVID and stuff, and no, it is in fact not doing well because
they're spewing out shit.
What's up, folks? Today I'm talking about a movie that nobody else is really talking about. It is called...
No one's talking about it because it's terrible! Woo! Let's go! Dude, I love watching big companies fail. God. And look, dude, I'm a capitalist at heart, and I love watching big companies fail because I'm also an anarchist. Getting canceled. What a beautiful day to get canceled.
Called Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken.
Dude, just read this title. Read that. Look at this poster. Oh, Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken. It's all the worst things bundled into one.
Is a film from DreamWorks, and I gotta say, it's a pretty tough act to follow. The Last Wish. So much so that I completely forgot that Ruby Gillman was even coming out this year. I saw a trailer for it on Twitter. I'm like, oh yeah. There's this octopus movie from DreamWorks, and I completely blanked on.
Octopus movie, dude. I've seen better octopus movies, and they've been hentai. Okay, the plots in hentai, octopus hentai, have better plots than Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken.
To be fair, that's because the marketing for this movie is not good. It's not.
Whenever a trailer comes out for a movie and the trailer is telling you a story that you've seen a million times before, why would anyone watch this movie?
Not good. And the trailers that we do have are like illumination levels of spoilery, where
dude, you can tell you the whole plot.
Just watch the trailers and you know how the movie ends. They absolutely go hog wild with just showing off everything. And it doesn't leave much to the imagination to like connect the dots and what happens. It's a very simple movie that way. But even more interesting is the predicament films are in general when it comes to like the movie industry for theaters. Folks, these films are falling like flies right now.
They're dying.
A lot of these safe bet films aren't doing so hot.
Sad.
Elemental didn't do so hot. That's not a pun.
That was a good pun.
Ruby Gillman just tanked. It did horrible. Just terrible. It cost like $70 million to make.
Damn.
And I think it's only made like 10 million back. So
oh my God, this is a colossal failure, and I'm so happy. I mean, sad for the poor people that needed to feed their families off the money from Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken.
It's been a disaster, which is, again, it's so unfair to the folks who make the film because that's a separate department.
Yeah.
And they're just trying their best. And I will judge the movie according to its own merit outside of marketing, because I feel like the box office returns is a separate thing to judge for a movie, of course, separately. Duh. You know, I didn't think that much of Schindler's List. It only made this much money. You know, obviously a bad movie. You know, I'm a movie critic. Well, yeah, I would say a lot of these films are just kind of falling flat on their faces as it goes right now. Indiana Jones, The Flash, The Little Mermaid domestically did fine. Internationally, not so hot.
Why did it do so hot? Was there like a gay relationship and they banned it in the Middle East or something? And also, The Little Mermaid, again, it was just riding on the coattails of something that did well before. Like, everything's really flopping hard right now because, quite frankly, nothing is doing hot because nothing is original.
Mario movie, Oppenheimer, Barbie coming out here soon. It remains to be seen how they perform. But it goes to show
but these are massive projects.
The movie industry.
These are not only massive projects, but they're names. They're recognized names. Where is the new name? Where is a movie that did well that isn't based on an existing massive franchise? Spider-Man's huge. Little Mermaid's huge. Mario's huge. Dude, Oppenheimer's big. Freaking, what was the other one? The last one that he mentioned real quick? Barbie's a massive freaking franchise. Where is the movie based on an original work that's not purely based on a pre-existing hype franchise?
Is kind of stuck and that this derivative kind of franchise-driven content doesn't do as well anymore.
Yes, preach!
And that kind of makes me hopeful.
Yes, preach!
But then you have something like Ruby Gillman, which isn't from a franchise. It's wholly original. And yet it goes to show you that marketing's apparently pretty important to making a good movie succeed. Yes, there are moments where a concept just doesn't click with an audience. I think that was the case for Elemental, which is a shame because the film is actually pretty solid.
For Elemental, I don't think it's that it didn't click with the audience. I just think it was a trope that's been seen so many times. I don't feel like it was anything original there that an audience walked away feeling like they heard a message that they haven't heard before.
But Ruby Gillman just didn't do it for me as far as like the trailers. I wasn't like, yes, I can't wait to see this. I thought, I'll check it out. And yeah, it was fine. Just meh. I already saw that it's going to be like getting a digital release here in July, which is like, oh yeah, that's a death rattle if I've ever seen one. Interesting that Ruby was like too revealing in its trailers, while Elemental was like too reserved. They just can't get it right. So Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken was...
All right, now we talk about the movie.
Directed by Kirk D'Amico and was written by Pam Brady, who I believe worked on South Park back in the day. And
oh my God, I would not have guessed that.
And I think Kirk worked on The Croods, I believe, and Vivo. Though the original story was written by Brian C. Brown and Elliot Di Giuseppe. I'm pretty sure it's Italian. But...
Dude, what is this take? You didn't cut the part out of the video. What a legend.
Yeah, I was curious if Ruby Gillman was based on a book, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's just an original concept that sprouted up at DreamWorks and then took form.
All right.
And the entire synopsis for the movie, and there might be some spoilers here and there, so just take it for what it's worth. Though again, the trailer is so just revealing that if you've seen the trailer, you kind of know what happens. But you got the character of Ruby, who is a Kraken. She's in high school. She's a bit of a nerd, a bit of an introvert, but she has, she wants to be accepted. She wants to be one of the humans as far as having fun goes and being involved and social.
And she's antisocial.
Socializing, but going through that awkward teenage, those years, that development. She's a family who is, they live by the sea, but they forbid the family from going into the water. The ocean's like evil, which is kind of a mixed message thing. I'm a little bit confused over the premise.
Damn, okay.
And there's like a line
Dude
that
watched the whole movie and still doesn't know the premise.
He says that kind of addresses it. Okay, the mother, Agatha, is like, don't go into the water, never go into the ocean.
No, never,
clearly
never.
Trying to hide something without ever really saying why. By happenstance,
Krakens have incredible power in
Ruby
the
falls into the water, goes into Kraken mode, and discovers that she has these powers, that she's a Kraken, and that some Krakens can turn into giant Krakens because of some royal bloodline. And I find it odd that you're in a home that's like, don't go in the ocean. Also, we're right next to the ocean. Also, look at our ocean-themed everything. Also, this doesn't make sense. And I know folks...
Yeah. I feel like that's a lot of the mixed messages when it comes to just basic stylistic choices in modern movies. I feel like they're like very ocean-based and ocean-themed, and but there's the forbidden thing. Don't do that thing that's forbidden. But we're not going to tell you why it's forbidden, but it is forbidden. Then they do the forbidden thing, and then the forbidden thing turns out was forbidden because you are special.
So like, well, they said they're near the ocean because of hydration or being moist so they don't dry out or whatever. I'm like, well, lakes, exist. Bathtubs exist. Water bottles exist.
No.
I just find it a little bit, what a precarious place to set up shop.
When the first draft gets approved.
For your home. If you don't want to be next to the ocean, maybe you shouldn't live next to it. But the entire thing is that the Krakens are, like, they protect the oceans, that history has gotten it wrong, that Krakens aren't bad guys, that all these other animals and creatures are the bad guys. Like,
right? You literally see it. The mean girl, hot mermaid lady, the conventionally hot mermaid, no, that's the bad guy. It's the conventionally nerdy, ugly Kraken girl. Well, that's the protector.
Mermaids are jerks. And I know that so much of this lined up with, like, the live action remake
Yeah,
of Little Mermaid.
That worked so well. Ocean racism W.
And DreamWorks kind of dunking on it, which, hey, I'm like, I always enjoyed DreamWorks dunks on Disney. Takes me back to Shrek, right?
I respect
But
it.
the timing didn't really work out that well because I felt no one really cared for the remake for Little Mermaid. They're like, yeah, that was a movie, whatever.
No, I hated it, bro. I thought it was terrible. I didn't just think it was they literally undid some of the stuff from the original. Oh my god.
Even watched Ruby Gillman, really. And they're like, wait, there was a satire from DreamWorks? Oh, okay. And even then the character, her name's Chelsea. She's supposed to be, paying homage. I say homage, just
Homage.
a bit of a satire towards Ariel from, of course, her face to her hair. And part of, I guess.
And she's the mean girl. She's the popular girl because she's so hot. But she's not actually as nice as you would think. You'd see the mermaids, they're actually not good people.
I guess a spoiler here is that she tricks Ruby the entire time because she shows up to school, befriends Ruby, tells Ruby, oh, I know you're a Kraken. Also, I'm a mermaid. We're part of this war, but if I get this Triton that your mother hid, I can fix everything. And then Ruby goes to training, being like, I'm finally making a friend and becoming popular, I guess. I don't know. She gets the Triton, and then a very obvious betrayal happens. And that's kind of the
Which is literally what happens in The Little Mermaid, right? That Ursula gets the trident from whatever, the dude, Poseidon guy. And it's like, oh. And she gets an unfathomable power. It's like, dude, I get maybe it's supposed to be a parody, but it doesn't feel like a parody at all.
They beat the bad guy. They beat Chelsea. That's it. All these folks are like shipping Chelsea with Ruby, being like, oh my God, the mermaid and the Kraken. I ship them. Pump your brakes. All right. Chelsea is like a 1,000-year-old anime character in a way.
I'm just a little baby girl.
0?
I'm 1,000.
Nope.
I thought it would have gone that direction. When I watched the movie, I was thinking okay, how does this play out? Who's going to be the bad guy? The mom? The grandma, by the way, who's like the queen Kraken, who wants her granddaughter to come back to the ocean. There's some distance between Agatha, the mom, and the grandmother, where they're like, I don't want this life. I want to live my own life, kind of thing. So there's that generational trauma, of course. It's just everywhere now, and
in every freaking fictional thing ever.
Films, along with panic attacks, apparently. But yeah.
God, there was another panic attack in this movie. Dude, Puss in Boots had a panic attack, and ever since then, every movie has had a panic attack.
I guess ultimately, the way the film played out, I'm like, either Chelsea's the bad guy, or Agatha's the bad guy, or the grandmother's the bad guy. This is how it goes. And I was hopeful that maybe it would be something like, what if the mermaid teams up with the Kraken and they flip the script on the status quo? That would Stop. Nah, it's just a villain. And I've been wanting villains again. I've been saying that for a while. But this was kind of a lame villain. It's kind of like one of those
Dude, the freaking villains in Puss in Boots. Now those were villains. Every single one of them just hit so hard. This was such a lame twist villain when you guess it from the literal title.
2010s villains where it's like Hans is the bad guy in Frozen, or oh my gosh, Mayor Bellwether from Zootopia is the bad guy. We've been deceived. An unapologetically evil villain, right?
Yeah, give us some evil people.
Gate. None of this hiding nonsense. It gets old. And for here,
it's really hard to do a twist villain. It's really, really hard. And when they flop so badly.
Very rewarding. I thought Chelsea was more fun as kind of this tenuous friendship. I would have preferred to see more of that. But instead, it's like, I'm the villain. And then a very anticlimactic fight at the end that I noticed the sound design was a bit soft. And maybe it was my theater. Maybe it was. But I was watching these fights and I'm like, this.
Can you imagine going to the theater and watching Teenage Crackhead?
It feels very light and lacks the impact of
I would pirate the fuck out of this. I'm not gonna lie.
Big monster battle, in my opinion. Compared to like Pacific Rim where you really feel his hits. Here it's like, not so much. Folks are probably like, well, it's a kid's movie. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, you're stupid. Shut up. I suppose one of the things it reminds me of is like Turning Red.
That's the worst thing you could possibly say.
Turning Red did it better with
Turning Red did it better. A knife to my heart.
Mom, I'm turning into something. I'm a teenager and I'm also transforming, with the mother trying to keep things together and hiding her own past. Didn't really work as well for Ruby. I thought again it was too simple. I thought its themes and its story and its characters were all far too simple. And it's funny because like simplicity done right can be amazing.
That is an incredibly base take of Mr. Saberspark, but simplicity done wrong is just slop.
It needs to be done right. It needs to be compelling. You need some really good characters to be invested in. And I did not feel that here. I saw that twist with Chelsea the mermaid a mile away. And also Ruby was
And in the trailer.
kind of dense. I was hoping it should be a bit more fun, but she's always like, oh.
See, like, I like the nerdy smart girl trope. I think that's funny, but the nerdy idiot girl trope, no, that doesn't do it for me.
I'm scared, I'm nervous, and I'm also a math person. For a character who's like, how do we examine the issue? Like, that's part of her character, is how do we examine and quantify the issue? It's like, how did you not see this trick from like 10 miles away, both for your family lying to you and Chelsea betraying you? That should have been pretty obvious, Miss Problem Solver. Stupid teenager, how dare you not be more immersive? This kid movie's not impressing me, damn it.
Dude, I know he says it with like the joke, like chest puffed out, like obviously kidding, it's a kid's movie, but no, kids movies used to be so good. Do you remember The Incredibles? Do you remember how incredible The Incredibles were? When Mr. Incredible is betrayed, that hits every child and every adult the same way. When he looks at the machine and sees how that robot killed all those heroes, when you see that scene, that twist, that he actually is just fodder for this machine's AI learning, that scene hits.
Animation was fun though. I do appreciate that. I like the movement, like the rubber hose for the Krakens, like their stretchy arms and their movement. There's some good composition with scenes.
I've seen better animation in Overwatch porn.
I also feel like there is some weird human designs. The stylization that I'm here for, and I will take stylization over like hyper realistic characters any day. But like some of these human characters look like, I don't know, like the humans I'd see in a Kroger commercial.
No, don't do them like that.
Yeah, the side characters too weren't that much fun to me. Like, you got Ruby's friend, whose name I forget. I'm like, oh, she's like Amethyst, kind of, from Steven Universe, but like not nearly as chaotic. I don't know. I just look at the background characters and the humans. I'm like, this isn't really fun. I don't really care for them that much. I respect the effort. I don't really enjoy it, except for Chelsea, who's half human at best. The Krakens were fun though. I'll give him that.
This leads us to finally the biggest question of this entire video. When it comes to Mermaid,
there was more world building though with the Krakens and their people and their kingdom that also seemed a bit simple. It felt small in what it represented. Like, it's a big piece of structure, but it didn't really capture the grandeur of the Kraken people, in my opinion. Oddly enough,
I actually like that criticism. I think that's a really good criticism.
In the ocean, it felt like a very small movie. Also, I was waiting for this to be like a musical. I was just waiting for songs to start. I'm like, oh, never mind. It's a licensed song instead, which, okay, I guess it gets the montage done or whatever, or this action sequence awkward. And you better believe that there's a dance number at the end of this movie, as is tradition.
Like Shark Tale, one of the best movies in the history of fiction.
But yeah, I guess when it comes to the quality of this film, I thought it was okay. It's not one of the memorable movies from DreamWorks.
That sentence summarizes modern animation so well. Modern animation is really stuck in this really, really sad state where nothing is original anymore. Everything is just tropes you've seen before, regurgitated and reskinned with shinier animation.
And as time goes on, I don't think I will look back on it with any kind of like, wow, I was wrong. It was amazing.
I don't think anyone will ever look back at it. See, that's the thing. Why watch this when you could watch something that does the same themes better?
It wasn't incredible. I thought it was a very safe movie, very simple movie.
The safe, simple route is failing, and that is why all of these movies are dying. And I am so excited for the next era of animation. That's why I'm so excited whenever there's a new Hell of a Boss episode. This is an indie animation. It could take risks and say things that, the box office pristine environment is not willing to say. And I really love that.
And the visuals were fun, but overall it just felt very contained. And I was expecting more. I think Luca is better. I think Turning Red is better. They're kind of in the same ballpark, with fish people and transformation. And I said on my YouTube community tab where I'm like, oh man, it's a hard act to follow for The Last Wish. And folks were like, that's not fair. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't care if you think it's fair or not. I'm going to say it because that is a hard act to follow. The Last Wish was very good. It made folks go, wow, DreamWorks, you can do it. And I think it's okay to hold them to a higher standard when they achieve a higher standard.
I respect
and
that.
I'm not saying
because here's the thing about Puss in Boots Last Wish that I really like. Even though it technically was playing into a large franchise, like the Puss in Boots, the Shrek franchise is huge, I feel like this story would have been good with a different character playing the role of Puss in Boots. It didn't only exist as a sequel to Puss in Boots 1. I did not finish Puss in Boots 1. I literally dropped it in the middle because I thought it was incredibly mid. And Puss in Boots 2 was incredible. It didn't succeed because it was part of a big franchise. It succeeded because it was an enclosed, fantastic story.
To be the gold standard every single time, but it goes to show that this studio has gotten better, and I'm going to continue to look on them with, I want to be impressed. I want to see what you got to show. I want to see what you got to show me. I want you to wow me, and I know they can do it. I'm not saying that Ruby Gillman was a bad movie. It's not, but it wasn't a fantastic movie, and I think that's worth saying. It's a very average movie. But in general, movies are just a weird place right now, where streaming-wise, it's like kind of stuck, where a lot of families are like, why would we go out to see Elemental when we can just wait for it on Disney Plus? Why would we spend hundreds of dollars for a movie that we can just wait for? And it seems that the only movies that really do well at the moment are the ones that can really wow an audience, like Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So we're going through a transition right now, folks, for both movies and streaming. And I think both industries aren't.
It's almost like the only way for a movie to do well is if they make a really good movie. Damn, what a hot take. What an original perspective. Wait, so you're saying that these big companies that are churning out movies should work and worry about making the movie actually good and memorable? No! What? What a cool concept.
Quite sure what to make of it. So let's hold our breath and see what happens next. So for the folks who have seen Ruby Gillman, tell me down below in the comments what your thoughts. I'm curious to pick your brains, and I will see you all next.
All in all, I thought this was a movie of all time, and it exists, and that's it. It exists is, I think, the most that can really be said about it, which is kind of wild.
Like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitch. Stay weird, fam.